Okay. Hello, everybody. Well, Franco and David. I'm going to share my screen because, as I promised, I'm gonna show you the paper that I was supposed to send you on April the 15th, but I didn't receive any of your um, pre-writing on the date that I announced for you to send it to me so I can make a pre-checking of your work. It's okay. It, points will not be discounted because of that, but I just want to send you this video because it's going to help you a lot to cite in APA style 7th edition. We're working with the 7th edition, which is um, the latest one, right? They are followed since 2020, since pandemic, and it's all related to the American Psychological Association's publication manual, which of course help us to cite different sources of information, studies, articles, web pages, books, etc. Okay, so I'm going to show you the first part when we have the direct quotation, right? I'm just going to focus on some. For example, the easiest one is when I cite one author, like in the narrative citation, right? I say Sendak 2015 contended that. So I put what the author says. Or if I want to make it in the parenthetical citation, right? I put what the author says, and then I put Sendak, comma, 2015, comma, page 2. Just if I want to be precise. If not, okay, there's no need for me um to put the page. I can close the citation with the year, right? Like saying Sendak, comma, 2015. I'm just trying to write. I'm recording this from Zoom, which is the app that I love for this. Okay, then what about if I have two authors? I can do the same, right? But I have to add now this one, right? So I say Sendak and Wise. It depends on on the on the last names of the authors. What happens when I have more than three authors? I do this. I put Sendak and then I cite putting an ET and then an AL dot and then the comma and the year, right? Um, that's the way that I should cite three authors, right? Then what about a group of authors? Sometimes we find like studies or articles that have more than, I don't know, like six authors, right? For example, when you find on the websites research papers, so there you have to put like the association where the study belongs to, right? And then you put the year. And if you want to include more information, you can put the paragraph, the name, the number, and the name of the paragraph, right? But if you don't want to include that, you can close it again with the with the parentheses that I have here in the year, right? So as you can see, they are different. The narrative citation and the arithmetical citation, they differ a lot from each other. Okay? Yeah, and then what happens when we have an author that is unknown, right? Yeah. So when I don't know the author, in the narrative citation, I put it in this way. I put it like openly. I say the author or feeding your young minds, and I put the year, noted that, and I put what the author said. Even though I don't know who is the author, I have to add it anyway by adding the year, right? And then if I want to put it in a parenthetical citation, I add the title of the paper or investigation that I found. And then I put it the year, and then I put the page, or again, I can close it just here, right? Thank you. Yeah, that is with the difference between the direct quotations if I'm going to cite in a narrative way or in a parenthetical manner, right? Then what about paraphrase? When I have paraphrase, right, I do this. I put just the last name of the author and just the year, right? If I want to paraphrase, I can do the same, but the difference is that I'm not going to put the number of the page. That's the difference. It's the same. I mean, in terms of using the last name of the author, but not being too um, picky or not being too detailed with the citation that I'm going to use. Okay. Okay. So that is about the citations in the text, right? So remember that you have to include the last names, which is the most important thing, right? And I want to go to this part, which is the reference list. The reference list has to be at the end of the mini thesis, right? The mini thesis, by the way, I'm going to evaluate the mini thesis in 2 classes, right? So that's why it's very important for you to come on Friday and for you to come on Saturday, because since you didn't send the first part, or just the first part for me to check on April the 15th, or I guess it was on April 17th, right? We are going to have 2 classes to continue working on this, but in order to improve the piece of writing. So it's important for you to attend the lesson because we are going to work on improving the paper. So on Saturday, the paper has to be ready and it has to contain, it has to be as much as accurate as it can be. Okay. So when I refer to the reference list, it's the final part, right? So I want to emphasize that the list of each source, they have to be ordered in an alphabetical order. Please, they have to be guided by different authors, but you have to put the authors in an alphabetical order, right? So you start with all of the authors that you have with letter A, B, C, and then you continue, right? And well, how is the way to cite people in the reference list or the sample references like this, right? So if I have the author, I have now the surname or the last name, right? Then I have the beginning of the given name. For example, let's pretend that this author is called Fraser. I mean, his surname is Fraser, but his name is Charles. So I have to put the initial, right, in the uppercase, just the name. I mean, just the first letter of his name. And then I have to put the year, right? And then I have to put the name of the study or the name of the book, right? And then I have to put the editorial of the book. Then I can add also the country where the book was published, etc. Right? Then what happens when I have books with 2 editors instead of author? Well, there you go, right? I have 2 authors and I have to include again their name initial, right? Let's pretend that this one is Richard and this one is Carl, right? And then, for example, if I'm going to cite an essay or chapter in an edited work, I do the same, right? I put also the year in brackets or parentheses, as you want. Then, if I want to cite a journal article, I can put it with the DOI, right? I have to put the DOI so I can access to the paper because I'm going to read all of the sites that you put, all of the citations that you're going to present in the reference list. I will read them so I know that you can back up the information in that way, okay? And then, well, you can read this by yourself because I'm going to post this in the Ambiente de Aprendizaje, right? So you can read this in detail tomorrow in the morning, and we can go further in tomorrow's class. Now, before I say goodbye in this video, I want to show you the rubric for the presentation of the mini thesis project, okay? This percentage is not confirmed yet. As I said before, I'm still waiting for the academic director and her assistant to confirm the percentage of the evaluation, right? So I don't have any idea about that, but I promise that as soon as I have the information, I will let you know. So we have the academic area, right? Humanidades y Educación, the study program English, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, but I want to show you this before I finish the video. So all of the evaluation criteria is divided into the following terms. Outstanding, you will have 7. Competent, that is similar to good, it's 5. Adequate, that is 3. And then substandard, that is number 1. Substandard, it's below the expectations, right? It means that you as a researcher and your paper needs improvement, okay? So I'm going to be evaluating the introduction, right? This is all based on the outline that I showed you last class in the Ambiente de Aprendizaje that is also posted, right? This, I'm focusing on this, okay? I'm focusing on the introduction, the thesis statement, the body, and the conclusion. So I'm not evaluating something that I didn't tell you to do, okay? So in case you feel alarmed by this. So I'm gonna be evaluating the introduction, the thesis statement, sorry, the content of the paper, the body of the paper, right? The cohesiveness, this is related to how you put the ideas together. Because here, you have the use of sentence connectors and, if the information follows a logical order, right? Then we have the conclusion, which is the most important point of the mini thesis. Then we have the final 4 aspects to be evaluated, which is mechanics and grammar. Mechanics are referred to the rules of punctuation, spelling, etc. Then when I refer about usage, I refer about the correct usage of words. That means, for example, if I use an adjective to qualify something, I have to use the correct one, right? So for example, there are people who tend to confuse the word terrific. They think that this one means terrible, but terrific means good, like it was nice, like a nice experience. So that's what I mean about the usage of the words. Then this is the most important point too, right? The references, if you base them on APA 7th edition, right? And then we have the last point that is very important to me, that is adhere to instructions. If you follow my instructions, right? All of the things that I asked has to be in the paper, okay? So that's it. And then I have the comments in case you, well, you're gonna have comments anyway if you do good or bad, right? Because it's part of providing feedback. So the final score for this mini thesis project is 70 points, okay? That's the final score. So that's why I'm telling you to come to classes, especially Friday and Saturday of this week, because we are going to be evaluating in those 2 sessions the mini thesis project, okay? That's it. See you tomorrow.